Once a power, military and economic hub, Europe is now losing to Russia's pressure. France is panicking. It is fearing Russia's mighty military and preparing for a worst-case scenario. What if Putin orders a strike on Paris? Though the possibility is less, Macron is not taking a chance. The French army has now begun the training service of voluntary military recruits. The French military's 7th Battalion of Alpine Hunters welcomed the young batch to a base in Varses. It is a new 10-month paid voluntary national service for 18 to 25-year-olds. Volunteers will be paid at least €800 a month and will receive accommodation, food and equipment. The service will last 10 months, beginning with an initial month of training, followed by 9 months in operational roles. Tasks will range from helping out during natural disasters and providing support for counter-terrorism surveillance to more specialized jobs such as drone operation, mechanics, electrical work, baking or medical support. At the end of the 10 months, participants will be free to return to civilian life, join the military reserves or continue on a full-time career in the armed forces.
Yes, well, I find that this is a good example to demonstrate that everyone can get involved and everyone can do something at their own level for France, and it's quite interesting.
Well, for the service, it's a 10-month commitment. Once those 10 months are completed, we will then have the option to continue our civilian life or to enlist. So I'll personally observe how things unfold afterwards, perhaps to enlist or not.
It's a bit of an introductory process, actually. We'll interview him, but gently about everything he's looking for, what we expect from him and what he can expect in training. Because when he arrives, he's not sure what to expect, if he'll have to follow certain instructions, etc. So we simplify a bit what awaits him, and we show him he's visited the area, we give him an overview of the entire service.
What interests me most is military life, which has always fascinated me, and the values soldiers embody. And it's also about pushing your limits. So lots of sports, etc. So that's what interested me, and that's why I joined this NV.
Well, I wanted to get some initial military experience before committing fully, because actually I'm going to do my national service now, then continue my studies afterward, because it's possible to go back to studying, and then I'm going to commit completely to the army.
Today, welcoming 30 candidates for the service, it's something that's really in my wheelhouse, right? In terms of logistics, weaponry, and so on. The layout, if you will, is not a limiting factor at all, right? Tomorrow, accommodating a company's volume, if we had to double up a bit on all that anyway, the army is getting ready and will be prepared. I'm not too worried about that there.
Announced in November 2025 by President Emmanuel Macron, the scheme is aimed at bolstering the country's armed forces at a time of heightened security concerns across Europe. Speaking at a press conference in Paris earlier, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Fabien Mandon, said the program will help those who want to play a part in the nation's capacity to resist in an uncertain environment. The scheme will be rolled out gradually. After 3,000 volunteers in 2026, the target is to reach 4,000 recruits in 2027, then 10,000 per year by 2030 and around 42,500 by 2035. Ultimately, the annual total could reach 50,000, including the voluntary military service and the adapted military service, which will continue in parallel. France has not had compulsory military service since 2001. The new voluntary scheme underlines a broader shift across Europe. The US-backed Western governments are reassessing the defense needs amid worries about Russia's position and uncertainty over long-standing US security guarantees. But the launch event hit a controversy. French Army Head of Youth Recruitment, General Arnaud Gauchon, said he wasn't allowed to talk about what other countries were doing when asked if the new voluntary military service could soon be mandatory. This as Macron and the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer have said they're prepared to send troops to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. Following the suit, Germany recently passed the Military Service Modernization Act, which allows Parliament to impose partial conscription or a lottery system if the military fails to meet its target of 20,000 new volunteers per year.
I wanted to join the national service to have a military experience, because for me it feels quite important. It's also a patriotic duty. Well, the military has always been something that appealed to me anyway. I have always been drawn to the values that they represent and so on and so forth. And then, considering the current geopolitical situation, for me that's not going to be a factor at all, because I'm going to remain in France. I'm not going to be deployed to war zones or anything of that nature. I'm truly going to undertake a training program that will stay within French territory.
Because I'm going to undertake my national service to get a sense of what to expect. If I find the national service appealing, I certainly won't hesitate to enlist after my university studies.
The international context is a little bit frightening, but I think we must be prepared for any eventuality. The French army needs to be operational.
To the 7th Battalion of Alpine Hunters, so we are going to incorporate and recruit 30 young candidates.
As of September 2026.
A 10-month duration, so 10 months that are distributed as follows. Very simply, we'll have first month of training and then 9 months during which they'll serve within the battalion, distributed among the various companies that make up the battalion.
The whole point of national service is to bring in many young people each year who won't necessarily stay for a long time, but who will return to civilian life, who will be able to go particularly into the reserves, and who will live with a military experience that in almost a year will nonetheless be a truly solid experience.
We could have provided them with genuine expertise or true qualifications. So we're dealing with something that quite effectively addresses the era's needs.
We don't have the authority to make any public comments on what is currently happening with our neighbours. It would be quite discourteous toward our Belgian and German allies if I were to express my opinions on what is being done in their countries.
The national service is exclusively for volunteers. At this moment, there is no discussion about making service compulsory. It is not something that is currently planned. Over the next few years, we will maintain this service solely for volunteers. We will gradually increase the number of participants. Currently, we are beginning with 1,800 recruitments for the Land Army, and progressively, we will almost double that number every single year, but always ensuring we only have volunteers.